Hey guys, it's Carrie the Paper Monkey. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I wanted to start this video out right because I always forget. I'm so sorry. But no, I'm learning the ropes. So if you are new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping in. And if you're coming back to my channel, thank you so much for continuing to come back. I have had so much fun this week with you guys in the comments, and I learned how to do shorts on YouTube. Who knew? You're going to hear me say that a lot. I'm the who knew girl because I didn't know. So I've learned how to do that, and I've had some fun doing those. Those are kind of, they just spark a little bit different level of creativity for me because I love music. I love all kinds of music. I can usually find I can find something that I like in almost any genre of music. So that's been a lot of fun for me. I hope it was a great week for everybody. I am filming this on a Friday afternoon, and I'm hoping to upload it at least by Saturday morning because I wanted to give you guys a chance, if you were interested, to know a little bit more about Little Golden Books. If you don't know, I do love Little Golden Books. I love all kind of books. I really do. I tell people, and I've said this in the past, you guys are my support group because when it comes to books and paper, I have a problem. I have a real problem. So like it or not, you guys are the support group, okay? Y'all got to rein me in sometimes because look, I can get into a thrift store and if you're telling me that I can walk away with 4 hardback books for $1, I want to take like an entire shelf home with me. But that is just not reasonable, realistic, or feasible for me, okay? So I really have to calm myself down sometimes when it comes to things like that. But with Little Golden Books, I just love the nostalgia of them, and I love children's illustrations, and especially in little Golden Books. I've learned over time that there are certain illustrators that I just absolutely love. And if you haven't seen the short that I produced this afternoon, it is specific to a Little Golden Book that I found this afternoon in a thrift store. It is like the holy grail, for me anyway, of Little Golden Books. It's got the Little Golden Book spine and everything. It is a compilation of Eloise Wilkins stories and her illustrations. It's not all the books that she illustrated for, but it has several listed in it. We're going to get to that in a minute. I was so inspired by this. I wanted to share what I know, which is not a whole lot, but I know a little bit about Little Golden Books and their history and things like that. So I thought maybe if you were interested, you could hang around with me and I'll just talk through for a few minutes about just certain particular aspects of collecting, not necessarily collecting Little Golden Books, but some of the history of Little Golden Books. I know that Little Golden Books, there were 12 original titles produced on October 1st, 1942. I'm looking at my notes because I had to write this stuff down. It was a collaboration between Simon & Schuster, the publishing company, of course. It was a collab between them and the Artists and Writers Guild at the time. Okay. It was actually the president. I don't have his name written down. I apologize for that. The president of the Writers and Artists Guild was actually the person that came up with this idea. They wanted to come up with a children's book that was more affordable at the time to be able to reach more children and families. Okay, that's basically was the concept. And they were able to do that. They sold, the first books were sold for 25 cents. Okay, that 25-cent mark, that price, you won't see on the cover of a Little Golden Book. Like here, this is not a real good depiction, but because this is a golden shaped book and we'll get into that later, but you see how it's got 29 cents here on the originals that cost 25 cents. If they didn't post that that amount on the cover. But the first ones were 25 cents. Those first books, I don't know how many of the first, but the first books had blue spines and dust jackets. So I thought that was really interesting. And if you have a chance, I'm going to see if I can embed some links in my description, so maybe you can go and see some visuals. If I can find them, I'll try to find them. But I'm going to link a video of a lady who has a YouTube video on little golden books and collecting. She's very interesting, so I'll link her video below. And I'm sorry I don't remember her name. It's been a very long time since I watched it. But anyway, we'll get back to the original books produced in 1942. Blue spines, dust jackets. Those books had 42 pages, had a total of 42 pages. 28 were color and 14 were black and white. The early books like that, on the back of those books, that they only listed the 12 that were originally produced. From 1942 to 1962, the books were 25 cents. They had an increase sometime in 62 to 29 cents. They then increased again in 1968 to 39 cents. And then in 1974, they increased to 49 cents. I didn't go down that rabbit hole of every increase. I just stopped at 74. In 1970, in the 70s at some point, not 1970, but in the 70s at some point is when they started incorporating the barcode. Barcode systems came into place, and Little Golden Book was no different than any other product. They started, to also incorporate that in their productions. Let's see. One of the things that I found early on that was interesting was how you could determine the run of the book. So in other words, when a book is produced, they'll produce, like, let's say, I'm losing everything, guys. They'll say, we'll run 50,000 copies on our first run. If it's successful, then we'll run another 10,000 or 20,000 or, whatever the quantity is at that time that they decide. So with Little Golden Books, what they did early on is they used the alphabet system to identify the run. So in other words, the first run of a book would be categorized as A. This is the oldest Little Golden Book that I own. Okay. It is let me see, I want to be right, a 1950. Okay. However, it is the C run. So this could actually have been produced 1955, 56, 57. I mean, who knows? But it was in the 50s. I mean, I think it's safe to assume that it was in the 50s at some point. That's how you can kind of tell. Now, this book just happens to have the run here where it's clearly visible. Some of the books, you actually have to open up the back of the spine, and it can be hidden between the spine and on the paper in there. So keep that in mind if you're looking. You can also tell the age of a book by, again, we'll go back to the number of books that are listed. You see these, I mean, there's probably, what would you say, 50 books already on this listing. So, I mean, that's a lot. But there's no barcode on the back of this book, so you kind of know it was produced before the 70s. That's just some quick visuals for you to know. If you've just pulled a book off a spine in a thrift store, and you make it a rule of thumb, I'm not going to buy any that have a barcode because I'm looking for older books than that. Again, I have a problem, so I look for like the illustrations or the story, or if I'm sourcing for something. So I don't do it like that. Let's see. Moving on because I got a lot to share with you. there are several kinds of golden books. Okay, so you have the little golden book, regular size, what we're all accustomed to, right? Then there are the My First Little Golden books. These books are 5 7/8 by 5.5, about, right? So that you have that kind. Then you have the golden shape books. You can see here, right? It's because they have the unique shape to them. I thought I had one other one. I thought I had a Santa Claus face. I cannot find it. I'm so disturbed by that. But I'm going to look around for it. But that's a golden shape book. And these were, I think, were typically paper. Like they're paper. They're not hardbacks. Not to say that there are not any out there. I just have always seen the paper ones. Then they have the big golden books, which are this size. The big golden books, these are 9 1/4 by 12.5. If you watched my video the other day, you know I shared a video where Kitty Witty Paper Crafts made her planner out of a big golden book. And I want to do something with a big golden book. I'm not a planner girl. I don't know if I'm nearly that organized, but I do want to do something with a big golden book, and these are the two that I happen to have. There are a couple of books out there. Oh, let me mention these, because I came across these the other day, and I loved them. I picked them up thinking of junk journaling. These are, let me see, I think these are 8 by 10s maybe. Let's see. No, yes, 10. Yes, 8 by 10. These are 8 by 10s. These are reproductions of some of the original books, right? But the size was just absolutely perfect for junk journals, right? So that's why, and again, at my thrift store, paperbacks are 8 for $1. So I got these for virtually nothing. I thought these were a good deal. Just wanted to share that with you in case you were looking for some type of children's illustrations for your junk journals. If you can come across these, I thought these were perfect. I can't wait to utilize those. Some of the other things that I wanted to mention here are the illustrators. So I just pulled out some of my favorites. There, of course, Little Golden Books, the illustrations in Little Golden Books. There are too many illustrators to name. This video would be way too long, but these are some of my favorites. Tibor Gergely. I hope I'm saying that right. I did the Google pronunciation thing, and that's how they said it, because I don't want to be disrespectful to any of the authors or illustrators, because goodness knows I really do cherish what they've done, and I want my contributions to be respectful of what they've created. But Tibor Gergely is one of the illustrators, and I wanted to just kind of thumb through. He has several illustrations and several of the Little Golden Books, Little Golden Book titles, but just so, look at this truck, how cute. Isn't that so cute? Absolutely love it. Love it. Pokey Little Puppy. This was one of the 12 original books that were produced. Gustav Tenggren. Gustav Tenggren. Okay. And I mean, the Pokey Little Puppy. Listen, Rebecca Hoot. I talk about Rebecca a lot. She's a junk journaler. I don't do her kind of junk journaling. She's an artist, really and truly. She's really an artist. She uses a composition notebook. She uses other things too. Like she has a couple of planners going at one time, but she has her, like she has a sticker club, and she draws this girl every month, and you get her in a sticker format. She does some fabulous stuff. If y'all don't know who Rebecca Hoot is, go check Rebecca out. She's fabulous. Anyway, I digress. She named her little puppy Pokey because she loves the Pokey Little Puppy book. So it is absolutely precious, and I could so see somebody in the early 40s loving this book because I still love it to this day. No desserts ever unless puppies never dig holes under the fence again. Isn't that so funny? Just so sweet, so sweet. Richard Scarry, of course. I mean, his illustration, as soon as you open a book, you know it's a Richard Scarry illustration. I mean, they're just so unique, so exclusive to him and what he does. I mean, look at the rabbit. You automatically know. Look at what a great piece of ephemera that would be. And then, of course, we have Eloise Wilkin. She's like one of my, I hate to call favorites, but I'm gonna say she's a favorite. Look at the birds. Look at nature. Look at this little face. Right? Look at these little faces. She's just outstanding. And we're going to get more into Eloise in a little bit. Dr. Dan the Bandage Man. Love Dr. Dan. I want Nurse Nancy next. I'm on the hunt for Nurse Nancy. I know I could go out and get it on eBay or Etsy or somewhere, but I kind of want to find it in the wild, as I've heard termed. Corrine Malvern is the illustrator for Dr. Dan. But look how sweet. Look how sweet. My Little Cowboy Journal. I've got a couple other books that I've kind of picked for that. Some of this may be good for a Little Cowboy Journal. Look how cute Dan is. Shallow Dan. Okay. Now, this is what this video is, the inspiration behind this video. I was in the thrift store today, and I found this book. This book still has the price tag on it. It was sold at TJ Maxx. It looks like the spine never or rarely got even opened. It just was incredible. And when I saw it, I thought I would just pass out right there in the middle of the Goodwill. It is a compilation of 9 classics that Eloise Wilkin illustrated for Little Golden Books. It has the spine. And like I said, you can see it was sold at TJ Maxx for $6.99. I got this book at the Goodwill this afternoon for $0.25. And you can see it actually has the gold gilded pages, the ends of them. Absolutely lovely. I wrote some notes from the introduction that Eloise Wilkin's daughter, Deborah, wrote, because I didn't want to, I mean, you're more than welcome to stop this and take a screenshot of what I'm doing here. Let me see if I can get a little closer. I'm sure I can for you guys. I never do that. Like, I think my video is getting maybe a little better. Comment down below and give me some pointers. Let me know am I shaking the camera? Am I in screen? Y'all have to help me learn how to do this stuff. I'm kind of slow when it comes to things like this, but I'm willing to try. Let's see. I don't want to get you. Hopefully you can see that. Deborah Wilkins Springett is Eloise Wilkin's daughter. And I'll summarize some of the stuff she has in here. Eloise was born in 1904, and she lived in Rochester, New York. Every year, I thought this was so cute. Every year, her and her 3 siblings would spend summers with family in Western New York. So their dad would take them to the train station, load them up, okay, and send them on their way every summer. And every summer he would send like a telegram in advance of their arrival to the family who was going to receive them. And the telegram, this was the funny part, their dad would write this on the telegram: Burns Comedy 4 arriving at port. Isn't that hilarious? I thought that was so cute. Eloise won an art contest at age 11 years old, and it surprised her family so much, but they sent her to art school as a result of that award. So she graduated from art school in 1923. Now, the daughter didn't give ages of Eloise at the time that this was occurring, but she said she graduated art school in 1923. She then opened an art studio in Rochester, New York with a good friend of hers. They struggled for a couple of years. She didn't say exactly how long, but they did struggle. Look at all the shadows. I am so sorry about that. So they struggled for a couple of years, and then they eventually moved their studio to New York City in hopes that they would have more more traffic and a better opportunity there. Now, in 1930, she got married. She married and she put her art career on hold for 10 years to raise her family. They started the family. She raised a family. She had 4 children of her own. After 10 years, at that point, her sister Esther wrote a book called Mrs. Peregrine and the Yak, and she asked Eloise to illustrate it for her. So Eloise did. And that's kind of how her art career got back on track. She would use her grandchildren as her models. I thought that was so sweet to know that a lot of these pictures that you see are of her grandchildren. You know, what she envisioned or illustrated as her grandchildren. That's just so sweet. But here's something else that I found so interesting. For 20 years, Eloise worked on creating a baby doll like a newborn baby. She worked for 20 years. The daughter said that her mother was a perfectionist. So it took her 20 years to do that. But in 1960, Vogue Dolls launched Eloise's baby doll. And the baby doll's name was Baby Dear, D-E-A-R. Okay? It was the first design. The daughter says in the introduction that it was wildly successful. They sold over 1 million baby dolls. Back then, can you imagine? Nikita Khrushchev. Now, I didn't have any idea who that was, but I looked it up, and he was the first secretary of the Communist Party. He was in New York City to deliver his famous speech, it said, at the UN. He and some of his Russian delegates were passing the windows of FAO Schwarz, and they saw Baby Dear in the window, and they bought 13 dolls to bring back with them to Russia. They were so impressed with the doll. Eloise went on to design 8 dolls for Vogue and Madame Alexander Doll Company. Baby Dear and So Big, I guess that was another name of another baby that she designed, were little golden books. They were titles of little golden books written by Eloise's sister Esther, but they were illustrated by Eloise. Isn't that, I just thought that was fascinating. And I just wanted to, I'm going to see if I can try and link my short, because my short gives you like just little snippets of some of these pages. I'll flip through real quick just so you can kind of see how lovely. I think there's 9 stories in here, but just, I mean, this, it's just lovely. She just did children and families, and it talks a lot about how this was her home, basically, with the drop leaf tables and things like that. What you see here, these rugs, all of this was her house, and she just illustrated it. They're just absolutely lovely, and she loved nature. But I did want to take a minute to just actually read something here. Here. It says, a warm and creative homemaker, Eloise shared with the world glimpses of her big, busy, welcoming household. Its rooms papered with gentle patterns, its drop-leaf tables and rocking chairs aglow with hand-rubbed sheen, its 4-poster beds covered by hand-stitched quilts. A devoutly religious person, she shared ever so gently her values, her sense of the beauty of order and love, of implicit self-discipline, and of regard for others. In her voluminous work, she has left us only slightly idealized, rich reminders of a lovely time not very long ago. I thought that was so touching. It just kind of choked me up. It still does. And I think for me, when I look at Little Golden Books, especially the older titles, that's what it makes me feel like. It just makes me feel comforted and warm and, like times gone by kind of in a simpler way. So I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, please hit the like button. It helps my channel, but more so than anything, I want each and every one of you to know this. I absolutely and thoroughly enjoy our interactions, whether it's a thumbs up or a comment or both. This community has done more for me since I launched this YouTube than I can't even tell you how inspired and just welcomed I have felt in years. I never imagined in a million gabillion years that I would be on social media of any kind, much less have a channel where people were interacting with me. I'm still floored by it. So I do appreciate your time and all the interactions that we have. I hope that whatever you get to do this weekend, that you get to have fun doing it, because I want you guys to remember this. I've said this quote before, and I'll say it over and over again because it's resonated with me so much. Remember that it is never too late to have a happy childhood. You guys go have some fun. Thanks for watching and stopping by. We'll talk soon. Bye.